Many of you have been asking questions like, when's the church going to reopen? Some of you are eager to have the church open up. Some of you are wanting us to take it slow, and we just want to tell you that it's really complicated between rules that we have to follow with our bishop and district superintendents and rules that we have to follow with the state of Washington. It is, well, let's say that it was really easy to close the church when the virus came, and it is turning out to be incredibly difficult to reopen the church.
So the short answer as to when is the church going to reopen, when are our churches going to reopen, is, quite honestly, we don't know. The bishop has sent out guidelines for reopening. There are 4 phases to the reopening process. They're, to some degree, similar to the governor's requirements, but not identical. In some ways, they're slower, intentionally going behind the state, because the bishop really wants to see what is going to happen with the number of cases. So in some ways, we're going to lag behind the state government. Right now, we are in phase 1. In phase 1, we can simply have 5 people in the building to record worship and people doing essential functions, for example, in the office, in the building for short periods of time.
In phase 2, there's a maximum of 10 people. So as you can see, by the time we get to phase 2, sometime hopefully in the next few weeks, we're still looking at 10 people. That's just enough to do maybe more of a live worship. Phase 3 has a maximum of 50 people allowable.
And that is dependent upon what your building really can accommodate, properly social distance. So while the Auburn Church can certainly accommodate 50 people, we're thinking that Colby Church would only be able to have probably about 38 people at a properly social distance.
There's lots of limitations about singing, about what age groups should be attending worship in all of these phases. And so it's only at phase 4 that we can have over 50 people and fewer limitations. But there will still be limitations.
There will not be singing, at least not live singing.
There won't be communion. There won't be wind instruments. There still won't be...
and there won't be a big social hour. At best, just coffee.
Yeah, at best. So at the end of the day, what we want to tell you is both of our churches independently, as many other churches that we have talked to, have pretty much, along with their church leadership, made a decision that we are not in a rush to reopen the church. And part of that is because we have been entrusted to the care of your souls, but we've also been entrusted to the care of your physical well-being. And we are just not comfortable taking risks with your lives.
Another reason that we will delay until phase 4 is our leadership does not want to exclude anyone. There are limitations up until phase 4 on the attendance of persons 65 and older and persons with other health conditions that put them into the vulnerable category. And we just don't want to have to tell people that they shouldn't come to worship. So in a decision on both of our churches' parts to wait to reopen until we can include everyone is why is one of the reasons why that we're delaying.
So we're going to defer to not only our bishop and our district superintendents and to the guidance from the state of Washington, but we also want to tell you that to some degree we're deferring to our leader, John Wesley, who has said two important things that we want to close with. One of them is, he said, do all the good you can. And I think we can do good without having to be physically together in the building. And John Wesley said that we should do all the good we can to all the people we can as long as we can.
And the other thing that he said, which is kind of the flip side, is that we should do no harm. And while we know that many people are eager to get back to work because they need to earn a living, we in the church are in a different situation. We're not in the business of making money and keeping an economy running, or making sure that households have an income so that they can pay their mortgage. The church is in the business of taking care of people. And that means taking care of their souls and taking care of their physical well-being. So there is no need for us to rush ahead and risk doing harm to people.
So we are going to keep you informed, and we are working with our committees to figure out how and when we are going to eventually open. We're preparing, and we're making all sorts of plans. We ask for you to pray for us and our committees.
They're working very hard, and we ask for your prayers, not only for the two of us as pastors, but your leadership. And also, I would ask that you would pray for your community, how we can think of the people around us in this time as well.
Thank you for listening to us. I'm sure you have lots of questions still, but we thought we'd just give you kind of something to think about. Thanks for listening.
Take care.